Hi, and welcome to Fairview Range Focus. I'm David Hall. Today we're going to talk about the Central Mesabi Medical Foundation, and I'm joined by Susan Degnan, who is the foundation director, and Mike Ferdine, and you are board members, I understand.
Correct.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm anxious to talk about the Medical Foundation. I know you do a lot of great work, so well, maybe we could start by telling us a little bit about what is the Medical Foundation? What do you do? Or it's been around for a long time, is that right?
It has, David. The Medical Foundation was founded in 1957 by Dr. Don Nolet, Hibbing physician, and it really started out by trying to help medical students with scholarships. It expanded after that because Dr. Nolet, his motto really was neighbors helping neighbors. And so he felt that through the benevolence of our community and our neighbors that we could expand the work that the hospital did by buying equipment and continuing to do student scholarships at the same time.
So Dr. Don Nolet, and I remember I've been there a while at the hospital, and so he was a pathologist.
He was.
And you said 1957.
1967.
67.
1967.
1967, okay, excuse me.
This is our 50th year
Okay.
of our foundation, and we just celebrated with a nice donor reception back in March.
Okay. So it's been around a long time.
50 years.
Some people maybe hear it for the first time, but been around a long time, made a real difference in our communities, I know.
Absolutely.
So now you're a separate legal entity, as I understand, and you have a board of directors. So who's on the board of directors?
Well, our current board includes Mike here as our vice president, Marty Nako is our current president, and Greg Lee as our treasurer. We have Dr. Kim Bigelow, who's a physician at Masaba Clinic, Mary Bischoff, Andy Borland, who's an attorney in town, John Brisky, Steve Davidson, Mike Fay, Dr. Jay Hildenbrand, Pat Ives, Brian Lindsay, Jack Ryan, and Todd Skaya.
Wow, so it's a pretty good, well-diverse board. I mean,
It is.
from people from different disciplines and from different communities.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
So now, Mike, you are the incoming president, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So how did you get involved or interested in the foundation?
Yeah, well, heard a little bit about it growing up. My mom worked at the hospital for 20 years. And,
Okay.
but then I was approached by one of the current board members when we were on the paid-on-call fire department together. And found a little bit more about the foundation and want to be part of something that greatly impacted the community. And CMMF, was that fit for me as far as potential leadership role within the community, and it's nice to see what we do as far as helping give out scholarships,
Right.
to area students, and
Okay.
then and hopefully in return they'll come back and work up here, and then and just helping with the equipment within the hospital, with allocations for that, and help keeping Fairview Range was up to par with state-of-the-art equipment, and keeping people here on the range, versus having to travel so far for certain medical needs. So.
And it's a volunteer board. There are some boards that are paid positions, but you are a volunteer, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just in case anyone's wondering
Yep.
about that. So, Susan, tell me, so what does the foundation do? I mean, we hear the term foundation, and there's lots of foundations out there, but each has a different purpose. So what does the Central Mesabi Medical Foundation do?
Our medical foundation truly exists to enhance the services, the equipment of our local hospital and our clinics. We do that by purchasing new equipment and technology, as Mike said, and then supporting student scholarships. Right now we have several of our scholarship winners who are actually working with us at Fairview Range. We have our newest foundation scholarship recipient is now working in our pharmacy. And she and I had a chance to have a conversation the other day, and she says, I'd really love to give back to the community by serving Fairview Range in her role, but also as a new donor to our foundation as well, giving back to the entity that helped support her career. And then we also help fund programs throughout the community. Some of them are Silver Sneakers, Senior Exercise Program, We help fund the Miracle League,
Red or Run.
the Red or Run,
Mm-hmm.
the simulated lab at Hibbing Community College that helps train new nursing students.
Kids Care Fund.
Kids Care Fund that helps to support young people who might have medical needs and so forth. And really there's a variety of programs and services that we provide through our medical foundation.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot do this without the help of generous donors.
Okay.
And so we really depend on and value every single one who helps make this happen for us.
So not everyone might understand how this works. From a standpoint of, I mean, you're in a position as a foundation to give money back to the community or to the foundation, or excuse me, to the hospital, clinics, or to scholarship forms. So where does the money come from? I mean, where's you're not selling anything. Where do you get your money?
We aren't selling anything. Really what we do is we help our donors have true joy in serving and helping others in our community. As Dr. Nolet said, his motto, neighbors helping neighbors. And so we really truly depend on the generosity of our donors. Our Fairview Range employees give through payroll deduction, which really shows a commitment and a passion
Right.
for their own establishment and the work that they do and the co-workers that they have and the patients that they serve. We also have our annual golf outing, which is our main fundraiser. And last year was our 24th year, most successful year to date, raising almost $27,000.
And that's a lot of community businesses pitching in,
is.
you know, and supporting us that way.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You're right. Lots of community sponsors. People came from Tennessee this year to come to our event.
To play golf.
To play golf.
Okay.
And really not to play golf, but to really support the foundation. Golf is just a byproduct
Yeah.
of this event.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
It really is.
Good.
So we're kind of the bridge of, you know, the needs and making things happen.
Yeah.
And I like to see that that role with our board and myself of really possibility thinkers and how we can make things better for our community and the people that we serve.
I hear you both speaking about making a difference and, you know, wanting to be involved personally, Mike. I mean, from a trying to make a difference in the community and to help the community. And it sounds like the foundation does make a difference.
We make a difference.
I bet you've got some good stories of some
Every
examples.
single day, David, we make a difference. It's a true joy for me to have this position, being able to help somebody, and especially for me to be able to meet some of the people that we've been able to serve is truly a gift. I can think of several people just in the 3 years that I've been here as your foundation director who have talked to me about the new chairs in our infusion center that our foundation provided. Or I have a little buddy who is in our pediatric physical therapy area. He's my little pal, and I've had a chance to meet him several times and see the progress that he's making with the help of our providers and the equipment that we've been able to provide in the pediatric physical therapy area. Through the donors and our generosity of our co-workers, we've really been able to fund that entire program. And it is really just a kid-sized area for our youngest patients in pediatric physical therapy.
And we were able to even get a simple iPad, you know, for
Speech therapy.
For speech therapy for one of the little kids, and was finally able to tell his mom he loved him or loved her. So yeah. So
With the iPad.
With the iPad, through working with that iPad, he was able
Okay.
to
Oh, that's pretty neat.
learn
Some
some speech.
heartwarming stories then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And not only, you know, just equipment for the hospital, equipment for the community, with the request for maybe AEDs or something like that, we're able to get some equipment out back into the community through that as well. So which has been really nice and rewarding that way too. So
I know you do a lot for the hospital and clinic, the Fairview Hospital and Clinic, in regards to, you know, purchasing equipment and things of that nature. You have any examples of what kinds of things you've done there? What kind of difference you've made for the hospital from that standpoint?
Well, I think sometimes the things that departments want aren't necessarily within their budget for that year. So we can really enhance their ability to serve patients through the purchase of equipment that we're able to buy for them. And also some training that we've been able to provide for some of the people who work there, especially recently someone who works in our Greenview memory care area, to have her be certified as a dementia care trainer. Her training will allow her to better serve her patients and to help her co-workers, but also she'll be training people within the community to be able to take care of folks beyond our walls. So the reach is very, very broad, and we don't always see the impact of it. But when you hear the stories of those who have been served, I can think of another example, David. In the community, we recently funded a seminar called Winning the Battle for law enforcement and for first responders. And this was to help them deal with post-traumatic stress and prevention of suicide, high rates of suicide in these careers. And it was very rewarding for me to run into someone at the grocery store who came up to me and knew that our foundation had funded this program and said in the 25 years that he's been involved in his career, he's never had this type of training. And his words to me were, "You will never know how many lives you've saved. And thank you so much for this training." Very powerful. But that doesn't happen, you know, just with Mike and me and our board. It truly depends on the generosity of donors who are willing to help us do these things for our public and for our medical community.
Right, right. That's a great story. And this was somebody in law enforcement?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, he had been in law enforcement for 25 years, and dealing with the stressors of those jobs can be very difficult. And so this training was the first that he had had in his 25 years of his career. So very, the impact is very broad. We did this program in Virginia, and they extended it down to Duluth. So we served well over 500 law enforcement officers through that one training.
Wow. And you mentioned the Greenview individual that works there. So from the standpoint of how money is spent, from an allocation standpoint, it doesn't all go for scholarships or equipment. I mean, there's an individual who was received training. So
Absolutely.
that's another great benefit, I mean, to the system and to that person individually. Like you said, all of the residents that she will contact and the families then.
Yeah, and the families also. I think that, you know, families are a big part of what Fairview Range and our Mesabi clinics do. Is the patient is the one being served, but the families are also the ones who are receiving care. And through something just as simple as the memory stones that we've purchased for our oncology area for patients who might not have the chance to graduate from their chemotherapy program, or even the aromatherapy program, a $200 program that we started to help patients who might not want to have pharmaceuticals in their care, but to be able to relieve their pain or anxiety or stress through aromatherapy. A new program that was started through that department as well.
Okay. I know that within hospitals, and everyone understands this, I think there's a lot of money that goes through there. Healthcare is expensive. But I think one thing that people maybe don't understand or be aware of is that every year there's the need to buy new equipment, replace old equipment, and that costs lots and lots of money. So I know firsthand that the amount of equipment that we have a request to replace far, far exceeds what money is actually available to buy, you know, to replace, to buy new equipment. So I know the foundation makes a real difference because you're helping to purchase equipment or pay for training that wouldn't otherwise probably happen.
Absolutely.
So I know it makes a huge difference.
It does, and I think, you know, that follows the vision that Dr. Nolet had of enhancing healthcare within our community. And, you know, the funds that folks donate really it stays local, but it reaches far beyond our walls. And I think that's really important. You know, I met a patient who comes here from Duluth comes to one of our orthopedic surgeons, and you know, they have many, many choices, but they chose to come here for the wonderful care that they receive from one of our orthopedic surgeons and through the rehab department that they're attending. So it's very broad-reaching, and people are served from a wide variety of communities and come here for our care.
Right, right. You mentioned community a little bit, and you touched on a couple of little examples, I think. Other examples, I think, as far as where the impact that the foundation has on our community. Is there other programs you support? Or?
There are many programs, David, and you know, we mentioned the Silver Sneakers program. We also help fund the Miracle League program, the Winning the Battle seminar. We also help HCC. We also help fund the Project Care Free Clinic. Carrie is a wonderful resource for people who are really seeking care and can't afford it, and we have many volunteers who work with her to do that. We place AEDs throughout the community, and I know that Mike's dad has been part of that project in placing those in the Balkan area.
Okay.
We have AEDs throughout the community and in schools, and part of that has started through our West Lynn Fund, which is, we are a fiscal sponsor for that fund, which helps to raise money for AEDs and training in our community.
Okay.
So there's that also. And then again, the student scholarships that go to students who will be coming back to work side by side with us in caring for our patients.
Yeah, whether nursing program or going all the way to getting their doctorate, so
Okay.
MD.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the other thing too is our CNA Certified Nursing Assistant program that we have at our local high school, Hibbing and Chisholm. We've helped to fund that program in the 3 years that I've been here. And we met a young person who just was taking the program because her friend was, and actually found her calling. And this will be her career. And I had a chance to meet her. She's now a student over at Hibbing Community College, and has also noticed that the simulated lab there was sponsored by our foundation. So it's a progressive career path for her, going from the CNA funded program by the foundation, and then the simulated lab at the college.
And that CNA program you're referring to is actually in the high schools, right?
It is in the high school,
okay.
Hibbing High School and Chisholm High School.
So you've helped fund both the one in Hibbing and Chisholm?
Right.
Correct. Okay.
Right. And it's wonderful to be able to go and experience that program. I've been invited to go and visit the classroom, and students are so appreciative and they're excited about their future careers.
Okay.
So to be able to be kind of on the first step of that with them is so rewarding.
Just so we don't leave anybody guessing. So CNA is
Certified Nursing Assistant Program.
Okay,
It's the
Certified
first
Nursing
step in
Assistant.
becoming a nurse.
Okay. Or leading on to some other career as well.
Right, yes. It's
Okay.
required for nursing, so
Okay.
it's their first step in that career choice.
Okay. So we talked about donors a little bit too, and people that would give of their own hard-earned money
They
and
do.
give it as a gift to the foundation. You've mentioned several other things with regards to fundraising. How important are the donors, the individual donors?
Donors are absolutely critical.
We have the Garden of Life, within the hospital there
Right.
too.
Yeah, this work cannot be done without our donors. Mike's talking about our Garden of Life. In the lobby of our hospital is this iconic wall of 300 ceramic flowers, created back in 1992 with the help of Jim Bymark and Jean Borland, who was the foundation president at that time. The Garden of Life was really intended to honor and recognize loved ones who may have passed, or to recognize families, and each flower really tells a story. People can purchase the flowers. There's a companion book that goes with each flower. And if you really wanted to know about our communities, go through the pages of those books, and it'll really tell the history and the legacy of so many generous people who've made an impact and a difference in our towns.
And those books you're referring to are right there in the lobby by the display, correct?
They are.
Okay.
They are, David. There's a plaque that recognizes each numbered flower with the name of the donor, or
Okay.
the recipient of the donor. And then there's also a type of scrapbook, memory book, and each page is correlated to the flower, and it really does tell the story of who the flower was purchased for, why it was given. Some people purchase them for themselves just because they want to make a difference, and we're really grateful to those folks, because that really helps motivate and move forward the work that we do at our foundation.
That sounds pretty neat.
It's
What a great way to
beautiful.
honor someone, or in remembrance, or
It's
to honor
incredible,
them.
right. Bill Goodman, who was an artist at the college, was the creator of that, and we've had visitors since I've been here who would like to recreate something like that in their own hospitals, because it's such a beautiful piece, a beautiful memory piece. I love our garden. I love our
Yeah,
garden.
it is a beautiful sight, I agree. Talk about the Golf Classic. You said you've done 24.
24.
So is it going to be done next year again?
So the
Is there
20
going to be a 25th?
There will be a 25th,
Okay.
yes, yeah. So we're in the beginning stages of planning, for that. So we're trying to make it a little bit better than last year. But yeah, last year was our most successful year, which was great thanks to the business, local community members. And we're kind of unique in that way that we're able to, once you come in the door, everything's kind of included with coming to golf for the day.
Okay.
So which is very nice that way. You don't have to.
And so you mentioned the businesses, Mike. So how is a business involved with the golf outing?
They can be a whole sponsor.
Okay.
Or there's other sponsorships that they can purchase and help out with, and some might sponsor the lunch or things of that nature. So there's many different ways they can contribute.
Okay. So again, we see our businesses in our community being involved in supporting something like this, a foundation that really has an impact on lots of lives. So how important are they to the foundation, I'm sure.
You bet.
Okay.
You bet.
You mentioned, Susan, a little bit about fiscal sponsors. You mentioned several groups.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that as far as, well, why would you do that? Why would you serve as a fiscal sponsor for a smaller group?
Right. I think with small groups, it's difficult to be able to do all of the paperwork and all of the financial aspect of running a small group. And so the foundation takes over as far as taking care of the 501c3 status for them. What we do is we support them in many ways, but mostly by receiving their funds and then distributing their funds in the way that they've asked us to. And some of those funds include, like Mike said, the Kids Care Fund. Mike's wife, Katie, helps serve on that fund with us. There's also the Red Oar Run, which is an annual run that works to support the Kids Care Fund. There's also the West Lynn Fund that we mentioned that supports AED purchases and trainings for CPR training within our communities. We also support hospice. One of our biggest fiscal sponsors that we support is our hospice program. And that's an end-of-life program to help patients and families at that time in their lives. Incredibly valuable program, and we're so honored to be able to support and help these entities, help them do their work so they can focus on really the purpose that they're intended. And we take care of all of their financials, all of their business work, and they can continue just doing the good work that they do without having to worry about those aspects of running their fund.
Wow, that's a great benefit to some of those smaller groups that that need that.
It
Plus, then the
is.
donations they're receiving can be tax deductible for that
They
donor.
are tax
So that's great.
deductible. All of the donations that come to our CMMF, our foundation, are tax deductible. So making a gift is easy and very rewarding.
So if someone's hearing this, I mean, I know we have a community that's full of people that are believe in philanthropy, that want to give back to the community or support various things. So if someone's watching this today and hearing about the foundation and the Medical Foundation wanting to make a difference, how would they do that? How do they contact you, or how do they get involved with the Medical Foundation?
Well, there's many ways to make a difference, whether it's just a straight-out donation to our Greatest Needs Fund, which helps to support our purchase of equipment and technology. You can support a scholarship fund or even create one of your own. We encourage people to recognize their loved ones with a memorial gift or a Garden of Life flower. Then there's also wills and planned giving, and we encourage people to think about us as they plan their end-of-life paperwork. To make a gift that's really lives beyond you is an incredible thing to do for people, and what a nice legacy you can leave.
And they can contact Susan directly
Yes.
with your phone number. there.
Absolutely. Contact me, 312-3034, and we'll have that on the screen at the end
Okay.
of the program.
Yeah.
And there's an email address too for me.
Okay.
Or stop by and visit me. I'm at Fairview Plaza, and I'm absolutely so happy to have visitors in my office. So
Okay,
please
good,
stop
good.
by.
And then our golf outing again is July 10th, 2018. So if they want
Okay.
it's
Yeah, join us
typically
for
on
an
a,
event.
on a Monday. They could sign up and just come and golf for the day, or bring a team too. So
Okay.
yeah.
Sounds like a fun event.
Yes.
Somewhat weather dependent, I'm sure, like every golf outing,
Yeah,
but I know
yeah.
you've had a good streak of nice weather.
Yes,
So
yes.
Absolutely.
hope for the 25th it's good weather as
You
well.
bet.
We're about out of time, unfortunately. It went by real quickly, but I'm just so touched and impressed by the work the foundation does, and I know the difference. I've seen the difference it makes in our communities and within our healthcare system. So personally, my thanks to you for the work you do, and as a volunteer member of the board, Mike, thank you for being involved and taking your time to support something like that. And Susan, I know the work you do is amazing in itself.
Thank you. Incredibly gratifying,
and I
David.
know how much you enjoy being able to talk with donors and help them make a difference in the lives of some of the patients and the people in the community. So thank you both for joining me today. It was fun to learn more about the Medical Foundation. And thank you for watching. I hope you learned a little bit more about foundation work. And again, if you're interested, want to know more about the Medical Foundation, you can contact Susan Degnan, who's the foundation director, and I believe we've got her phone number and email address on the screen. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. Watch another Fairview Range Focus next month. Thank you. Good job. Thank you.
Hibbing Public Access Television would like to thank U.S. Bank for providing us with studio space.